What's up team, Professor Mike, Coach T, back, Gracie Barra Round A Leeds here in the UK. Start of February, 2 days in, looking at some principles again, some ideas to get you on your Jiu-Jitsu journey. Today we're going to talk about the open guard and specifically passing the open guard, or at least the principles, the ideas you should be considering when you approach someone's open guard. All right, just a caveat, what we're not going to do today is give you any specific technique. We're not going to go through any specific types of open guard. There are so many. This is a very, very broad subject, which will take years, decades even, to master. All right, what I want to give you today in the next 5 minutes is just some concepts, some initial thoughts that you can then take away and develop on your own using some experiential learning. Okay, and why do I think that's so important? Because I think if we gave you a list, a catalogue of techniques, all right, the moment my opponent moves, that technique changes and you have to adapt. So in my opinion, and this will be a theme going through, and certainly if you came to train with us here at Gracie Barra Round A Leeds, we will put you in positions of experiential learning because that is where you figure out the answers to the problems for yourself. All right, you build the pathways in here which enable you to understand concepts and principles across the whole range of options in Jiu-Jitsu, not just a catalogue of techniques. Right, remember that's really important. Okay, so we're going to go to our open guard position. Ask Coach T to be in the open guard. I'm not going to tell him what open guard to be in. He's going to do whatever he wants. Okay, he's in a seated guard position. So let's start from there. Let's understand that in the seated guard, my opponent still has a fairly good level of mobility. It's not as good as mine because I'm on my feet. So in terms of being mobile and being able to move quickly, I have an advantage. Okay, that's good for us, not so good for him. How do I slow him down even more? At the moment, if Coach T came towards me, I could maintain distance. Okay, I could also probably beat him with speed if I wanted to. For a seasoned guard player, it's going to be hard to pass just from here with no grips. Okay, so to slow my opponent down, I'm going to put him on his back. Okay, so I'm going to grab the ankles, pull him up, put him on his back. From here, the advantage of mobility and speed is all mine. All right, I'm very, very quick to move and change angles, all right, and redirect things to get to a better position. Well, that's only the start. And if you watched our video last week, we talked about the guard and the layers of the guard. You remember us talking about what guard passing is. Okay, guard passing is not dancing around the feet all day. All right, guard passing is getting to a position of complete control in competition for at least 3 seconds, in a fight for as long as it takes to win. All right, and that could be side control. It could temporarily be the on stomach, it could be the mount, it could be the back, whatever. But we have to systematically get through the layers of our opponent's guard to the end destination, which is control. If we don't get control, you must understand, you haven't passed the guard. You've almost passed the guard. And the reason we need to understand that is because in order to get to that end point, it's quite hard. And our opponents can be doing everything possible to stop us. And also, the moment we get into our opponent's guard, however that might look, and they start to control us, actually, the advantage tipping point shifts. And the more controls our opponent gets on us, the more advantages they have. Okay? So we have to understand that. Why am I telling you this? Simply because you have to approach someone's guard with respect. If you just bimble into someone's guard, it's going to be a difficult day for you. Okay, they're going to take you from here to a worse position, and it's always going to get worse. And if you're only thinking about your plan at this point, that's too late. Okay, you're too far down the line, and it's only going to get worse. It's going to end up in your opponent sweeping you, submitting you, whatever. Okay, you have to start to think about your plan here and know where you want to go, because the grips you get are going to take you to that destination. So, again, we're not going to talk about technique. There's some principles there for you to think about ordinarily. Okay, so mobility advantage is mine. Still quite good. Putting on his back, even greater mobility advantage to me. I don't get the guard pass until I get control, which means I have to have a plan. And I have to respect the guard, because my opponent will be doing everything possible to tie me up, to off-balance me, and to sweep me in somebody. It's a dangerous place to go. A good jiu-jitsu player's guard is a dangerous place to go. So have a plan. All right, so once you understand that, then we can start to think about some very, very broad ideas. I'm just going to give you one. Okay, and this is the idea of gripping to pass the guard. We see this a lot from new jiu-jitsu players, people who are inexperienced, and they view the guard as the legs. Okay, so what they do is they throw the legs to one side and think, wow, I've cleared my path to passing the guard. And for a split second you have. All right? All you've given yourself is an angle. You may have passed multiple layers of your opponent's guard, but don't forget, a proper pass, a full pass is control. So as soon as I start to close the distance, guess what? The layers come back and I go back to the start. And this is a frustrating and tiring process where you'll be throwing legs to one side to the other side and running around in circles, and your opponent will find it quite easy from the bottom, using much less energy than you to recompose their guard. So when we think about gripping, we have to have a plan. The reason we take grips is so when we get past the legs, we can continue to move towards that control. An example of which would be, let's say, if we're talking about throwing legs to one side, instead of just throwing the legs, we might take some pant grips, we might move the legs to one side, we might step in to close the distance, okay? Maybe we'll re-grip from here into a leg drag position, which means that our opponent is no longer able to recompose the guard with the legs. We've got to the hip line, we make it very difficult for these layers to come back into play. From here, we could dominate inside space with the underhook, with the head, drive, maybe run round to the side for control. We have options, of course. We could come through here, move to the mat, wherever you want to go. You got the control because you controlled the layers of the guard going in. You did that with grips. Like I said before, there's loads of options here. Thanks, Coach T. Loads of options. This is a super broad topic. But if you were starting jiu-jitsu today and I could teach you one thing about trying to pass the guard, I would say, remember, in the guard, your opponent has the advantages. You have some advantages on your feet, mobility, speed, angles. You've got to keep those advantages where you can, but pass with a purpose and pass with a plan. If you fail to have both those two, you're going to fail. All right, and don't forget, like I said at the very beginning, the best thing you can do is to experiment, to try, okay? So grab a partner, grab a grappling dummy in lockdown, just start to think, start to understand the problems and develop your open guard passing game. All right, I hope you enjoyed it. See you guys soon. Take care.